Hi, I'm Abhimanyu and I'm speaking with Pushkar and Gayatri, the creators of the web series everyone in India is currently talking about, Suzhal. Pushkar, Gayatri, thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us over.
First of all, it's only been a few days, 4 days right now, but the buzz and the chatter is relentless. People talking about it, celebrities talking about it. Did you expect or anticipate this sort of a response, or is it something new?
Actually, we were not sure because this is also our first foray into the web space, right? So we don't have the experience and the metrics on how people would respond. Feature film, I mean, like everything finally depends on the theatrical collection on that day, and there's a way in which we see how the chatter is happening and all that. So yeah, we were pleasantly surprised by the all this response.
So yeah, so every time we keep refreshing the phone, there are like more new tweets and tweets not just from Tamil Nadu, from
Right.
wherever. So that is like a very hard thing. So it is not just like it's a Tamil show, but with all the dubbing and all, it's like reaching out to across barriers.
And
That's
more
what
than
I
what's
was
appearing,
coming to. Yeah.
and more than what's appearing on social media, a lot of people from the industry have also called and spoken to us. So I mean, we didn't expect people to watch 8 episodes of a heavy subject overnight and then call us the next morning. We thought, okay, I mean, the industry people will start calling us maybe mid of next week or something like that.
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon, Friday it was on air. By Saturday afternoon, we started getting those calls.
Which was the
And
most surprising call? Which was the most surprising call from someone in the industry?
actually, I wouldn't call it surprising. All these people are well wishers of the thing. But actually, the one which I think connected the most was the senior journalist who called. Very, very senior journalist. And he had sat through all 8 episodes that night at his home. And I didn't expect him to sit through that at all. And he made all the connections which we were going for between the mythology and the present story and all that. So that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, a lot of heartbreak moments.
Yeah, that's good. And you mentioned a very good point that your storytelling is rooted in Indian folk storytelling and mythology. Be it Sudhal, be it Vikram Vedha, which is of course very openly about the Vikram Vedha folk tale. This one, of course, is a you can see the parallel story going on in the festival that is happening. And is it like a conscious effort to bring out these micro tales, whether they are popular that much or not, and then you go for it and bring it out into the mainstream?
Actually, what happened was when we started writing this, this was an investigative drama with this idea of how a crime in a small town breaks the social fabric over there.
Right.
And the one thing which we were going ahead with initially was this insider-outsider thing. People you know, people you don't know, and how our judgment is clouded by certain types which signify what those people are. So those were the themes we were going for. At that point of time, we came across this Mayanapulai festival.
It's a micro festival, actually. It's not extremely popular.
It's a micro festival.
We saw it in Vellore, near Vellore. It's actually a small town near Vellore. We saw that and we were asking the driver, who was a local, what is this festival? And he gave us a little background on that. And both of us looked at each other and said, this fits. This is exactly what that story is about. So that's how this happened. So we were like midway through the story when this happened. And we were at that point of time getting stuck on how are we ending this story as such? I mean, we know how the plot is going to end, but what is the larger idea of the story? So when we came across this festival, all those points started getting
fill in the blanks.
And I think a lot of our mythology, it's based on people who are there, especially the folk ones. And so they're all very close to our heart. I mean, somewhere, those are stories of people who lived a long time ago. So they will actually have an immediate connect. So whether it is like a modern narrative, and we like this idea of myth mirroring reality kind of. That space is something which is very interesting for us.
And somewhere, I think our Indian storytelling has a lot to do with memories. If you take any of our epics,
oral tradition.
Actually, any of our epics, because of the oral tradition, memory plays a very important part in it. And this story of Angalaman, who has to dig through the grave and find the monster, for us, that became, what is that graveyard became the memory. So in that way, that connection helped. I guess if you search long and hard, there will be some mythical story which connects to everything. And so
India is so rich in these stories.
Yeah. And it's not about belief. It is not about faith. It is more about the people. So I think these are stories which are social realistic in that way. All our mythology is very social realistic, and that kind of blends well with the kind of stories we are trying to say. So I guess that synergy happens.
You rightly said, and I'm directing this to Gayatri, that you said something about judgment. When I was watching it, and I watched it like most others, I started yesterday morning and finished yesterday afternoon, 6 hours straight without a break. So when I watched it, midway, I said, this is a story about perceptions. What one person perceives about the other. So this one boy looks like a loafer. So the entire town is convinced he has abducted the girl. This one person looks like someone he's very, cheesy. So he looks like someone who would be a pervert. This is about perception. And which is what our hero also says, that this is what the police training teaches us, how to be judgmental. So that is what you were trying to bring out to me, that about judgments and perceptions, not just in stories, but in real life as well. When we meet someone, we take a look at them and we say, okay, this is this sort of a person, right? That is for me, that was the core of the story.
Yeah. I mean, we always try to peg people into, so it is just, I think it is easier, for I mean, all of us actually. I mean, it is just easier for us to put people in one slot. Then you can it's easy to judge. So that is something which is like part of human nature, and you take it so much for granted that you don't even realize. I mean, if somebody comes and tells me that you're very judgmental, I'll be like hurt. But then it is all there. Like, you just sit back and then think, oh, why did I think of this person this way? Just like one look or. So, I mean, we all tend to judge the book by the cover. So that is something which is like, it is a huge insight into human. So that we want to explore. And earlier, and similarly, like that, I mean, I can't give spoilers, that Maruti van thing. So if you see it from one angle, it plays out in one way. But if you see it from another angle, it plays out in a completely different way.
Yeah.
So, so how you see things, how you perceive things, your perspective will change. Depending on whose eyes you're looking at.
Whose eyes?
So those are things which really interest us, and and I think long form actually lends itself to playing around with these things.
The central imagery which we were going for is there's one scene where Nandini tells Sakura, she holds a boombox and says, seen from this way the shadow is round, and seen from this way the shadow is square, right? So is this round or square? So that was one of the first things which kind of kicked the story itself into play.
Right.
So that would be the central idea for all the characters. Like, if we shift the perspective of seeing them,
and it is not square or round from one. I mean, it is both at the same time.
It's both at the same time. It's where you're looking at it from. That's what forms your idea of what the thing is. That's what. Another thing that I noticed is we have seen a lot of shows in the West which are about this idea of small town crime occurs and how the social fabric. And off the top of my head, I could think of Broadchurch, for example. That is a similar show, but a very different show. Of course, this is very Indianized, very localized. So were you sort of thinking about those narratives as well when you were writing this?
We see everything. I mean, like We've seen so many shows which have the same idea of a girl gone missing, set in small town. I mean, there's Broadchurch, there's Killing, there's Mayor of Easttown. We've seen.
Yeah, we like all of them. Yeah, we watch.
So our idea was, see, this is a genre. The girl gone missing in a small town is now, it can be defined as a genre itself, because there's so much of that around.
It's been going on for 30 years now. Twin Peaks, for example.
Twin Peaks. I guess that would be the seminal work at that point.
The seminal work, yeah.
And if you look back, I think in feature films also, much before that, they've had that idea of a girl gone missing. Second, in close community, not necessarily a small town. It could be any kind of close community. So why a close community is, you need people who know each other. So the question of who it is, if it's too open a community, then it could be anybody. So we wanted to take that genre as such and see how we can bring about this idea of being judgmental about people and people having multiple sides which all continue to make that person, and look at it from a very Indian way of dealing with emotions. So we are a lot more emotional at times. But on the same hand, I think one of the defining moments in us trying to understand human emotion, when my dad passed away many years back, you will go through all that sorrow, and at one point, Gayatri was there and a bunch of our friends had come over, and this was literally a day after the funeral and all that, and I realized we were sitting somewhere and we were laughing. Somebody had made a joke and we were laughing. This is one day after the funeral. So somewhere that clicked that we end up representing certain emotions only in certain ways, certain times. While I think you can go through the happiest moment of your life and next second there could be like a complete stoicness to it. And that has happened. We'll be like, hey, this is doing well and all that. And then like, oh, okay. All good. So that I think is something which we consciously wanted to integrate in the writing. That the way we see emotions in real life doesn't get represented in cinema that much.
Like we wanted to make the storytelling as Indian as possible. See, I mean, so like this Nordic noir, we don't want to have that. So with our directors also, with our camera. So, you know, if you see, the music is actually quite packed. And the visuals are also like right there on your face. Like, fully explodes. And that is who we are. That is, people react very more. So that pitching we didn't want to leave out. You know, like, okay, that we don't want to get into that indulgent space. We want to embrace the Indianness.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we, as Indians, we are. I'll use the word loud because that's what we are. And I don't mean loud in a negative way. We like colors. We like sounds, we like everything, and that shows with the folk tales that we tell, and the kind of theater, the folk theater that we are used to. We like loudness. So, just like a couple of questions to finish it up, do you think, and this has been going on for some time now, that South films are coming and sort of taking over North cinema and sort of replacing them? Do you see that happening with the South shows as well? Because I saw this, and I see now the slate for not just Amazon but other platforms as well, that they are lining up half a dozen South shows now, Tamil, Telugu, everything. Do you see that happening with
actually, we don't want to. I mean, we shouldn't be doing this North-South kind of, you know,
exactly.
Like
no,
polarizing.
and we are working in both the industries. We are doing a Hindi film, we are doing stuff in Tamil. And I think where it is headed more than the South coming and taking over is that we are finding a voice which is Indian. Everything put together. Every cinema, every web series which is being made in India, all this being put together is, see, we are one of the few countries which has resisted the onslaught of these big Hollywood films.
In Europe has been taken over. Like only our industry, Indian film industry, is still robust. Otherwise, there are no European masters or even South American. I mean, most of it Hollywood has taken over. We still, that is.
So I think more than trying to think of it as one state or the other, we should look at all the content coming out of India and say this is all Indian content. It could be Hindi, it could be Tamil, it could be Telugu, it could be Bengali. all that adds to that variety of stuff India is capable of giving.
Diversity and variety of content. Yeah. So my final question to wrap it up, and you mentioned that you are doing, of course, films in Tamil, film in Hindi, and what I hear about, and I saw the wrap-up shoot of Vikram Vedha and everything, the picture and all, and someone commented to me saying, I hope they don't Bollywoodize it. I said, what does that mean? I said, films in South have a sort of a purity. When they come up north, when they come up to Bombay, it gets slightly more stylized, slightly more commercialized. I hope they don't do that. I said, well, the same directors, so maybe they have a vision. Your reaction to that?
Actually, I don't know what Bollywoodized is. We know to make films in a certain
watered down,
way.
probably. Yeah.
We will stick to doing that. I hope people don't think of it as woodized anything, because there has been no pressure from any quarters to do it in a certain way. Let's put it that way. There has been no pressure from producers over there or distributors over there saying like films here have to be made a certain way. Nobody has ever had that conversation with us.
And they wanted us to make it the way we make it. So we've not found that, found any pressure from any side, and we've done our best.
The scale is obviously much bigger, so that gives us a lot more scope. But other than that, I don't think.
Looking forward
to that. New thing, Bollywoodize. I need to go find out what that Bollywoodize means.
Please do. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I enjoyed the show as well. Hopefully, when the movie comes out later this year, we'll have a chat again, and I'll enjoy that too. Pushkar-Gayatri, keep doing what you're doing and keep talking. Thank you for speaking.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.